back to it after lunch. I also have another new receiver ordered for this DJI mic situation. As you can tell, I'm hyper focused on it and fixated because it's been like the 4th or 5th issue I've had with this system. Hopefully the last, or like I said, otherwise I'll be looking for a new system. If you guys have any audio recording stuff for vlogging and videos like this that you like to use with a GoPro or regular vlogging camera, let me know in the comments, because I'm open to suggestions. What we're going to do now is I got to tighten these bottom zerks. We're going to put the sway bar up and in and mount it to where it needs to mount up here. And I think then we'll be done with the rear until the springs get here. I wanted to get this up here and I wanted to actuate the suspension with grease in it so everything works its way in and stuff. And that'll be good for this portion of working on the GT500. All right, all good. I put the bolts in for the shocks just so there wouldn't be any noise. But yeah, so we got complete articulation up and down, no bushing noise because everything's nice and greased, so we're good to go there. What we're gonna move on to next is the front. So the way I'm tackling this is, since we're going to be bringing the struts to use the strut compressor there because we don't have one here, what I'm going to do first is we're going to take out our lower control arms, then we're going to undo our sway bar end links, undo our sway bar, mount chassis bushings, and then put in the new sway bar, put in the new control arms, and once those are in, then I will pull the whole strut assembly out. I want to do it like that so that I don't pull this out and this out at the same time and have this whole assembly having to be hung up here, because it'll be hung by the strut while I do the lowers, and once I'm done doing that, it'll be hung by the lowers once those are back in. So I'm going to start with that. We're going to pull out, you got a bolt here and a bolt here for the rears. You have a bolt here in the front. Now to access that, I'm going to pull this tie rod bolt off so I can put the steering all the way that way and then move the tie rod up or down to clear that bolt coming out. And then undo our ball joint pinch bolt and pull the arms off. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's not that difficult. So let's get to it. All right, both of our rear bolts are out. Our pinch bolt is out. My tie rod is out. I have the wheel cut all the way that way, and as you can see, you get just enough room to sneak that bolt through to get this control arm out. All right, so now hopefully with my hammer, with minimum hammering, we'll be able to get this ball joint stud to come out of the spindle, which 4,000 miles, it should come out rather easy. Oh, I don't even need a hammer, it just moved. Hallelujah. For rust-free cars that you get every 1 out of like 50 working in the Northeast. All right. And now you just gotta get this front. All right, let me get a pry bar. Do I have one out already? I don't see my pry bar. There it is. Oh yeah, use it with the gas on. There's one control arm out. So, not to bore you with anything, I'm just going to rinse and repeat on that side. I'll bring you back when we're ready to do our sway bar. All right, that's 2 of them out of there. It is pleasant to work on this thing. I won't lie, most of these Mustangs I work on, even the well taken care of GT500s, because we are up here in the salt-ish band, not as bad as like the Midwest, but or the middle of the country, we still get our fair share. And if stuff doesn't get rotten and rusted in place, it gets seized, even if you garage it all winter. So one control arm out, second control arm out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to undo the lower sway bar links, the ones that actually attach to the sway bar. And we're going to undo our sway bar clamps. So, the 3 holes in the sway bar. It's a fulcrum point. It's basic physics. So the hole that is closest to the mount. So this would be your mount. So the hole that is furthest forward. Let me grab my seat again. That hole is 6%, by their instructions, 6% softer than stock. The middle hole is 4% stiffer than stock, so basically stock. And the, sorry, I have that backwards. Furthest from the mount is softer, middle is 4% stiffer, closest to the mount, that's how fulcrums work, is 17% stiffer than stock. Now that is on top of the fact that we now have poly bushings and a beefier sway bar. So we're going to start in the middle and we'll go from there. If I don't think we're going to need anything over that. Like I said, this guy is not going crazy. This isn't a road course car or anything. He just wanted a lot better ride. So we're going to take out those sway bar links, take out those clamps, and fit the new sway bar up in there. All right, and installing this thing back in. Got my new bushings on here, all pre-greased. It's just opposite of taking it out. Nice and lubed. I'm coming up with so many "that's what she said" jokes. I'm going to grab my ratchet, tighten those down good, then we'll put the sway bar end links back in. Okay, I got a control arm up here because I wanted to check something, because I noticed the Zerk fitting is on the bottom here. With this installed correctly, you can't really get to that Zerk fitting without clearancing this away. So I searched high and low to verify that these would work with the stock subframe, not just BMR's K-member, and I was assured yes they will. So they do, I guess. I'm gonna have to probably take a die grinder and just open this up a little bit so you can get to the Zerk fitting, but I mean that's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things. So we are going to bolt these arms in and then call it a day with that, and then tomorrow morning I will pull the struts out. And let me look at my pile of parts over here. We're getting kind of thin. Yeah, that's it really. So once that is out, I have to wait for the correct drop springs to get here. And today's what, Wednesday? So Friday, I think they said, the Ford Motorsport Performance GT500 whatever blah 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 racing upper strut mounts will also be in. That's part of this kit. I wouldn't normally be replacing them on a 4,000 mile car, but it's part of the whole handling kit we got, so we got them, they're gonna go in. But yeah, so I guess let me get going on these control arms. So as you can see, like I said, I finished up the passenger side control arm. So front suspension, control arms, sway bar are done. We're going to be removing the struts later today, but right now I am actually setting the length on my adjustable Panhard bar. These are on-car adjustable, which means that one side of these threads is reverse thread, so when you turn it, it either sucks these in or spreads them out. You can do an easy quick lineup, just putting your bolt in each side, rotating this until you can do that. We're going to start this out at stock length, and then once it's on the car and the car's on the ground at full weight, most likely on the alignment rack, we'll measure the tires basically here on each side and make sure that we're not offset one side or the other, make sure we're in the center. But for right now, stock length should do us. So I'm going to tighten these 2 jam nuts and fit that up there only on this side, and I'm going to let it droop down because it'll be much easier to get our springs in here without the Panhard bar in the way, which they should be here, I believe, tomorrow. So let me get to doing that. Right now we're going to get these struts out of this GT500. All right, here we go, as I'm getting emails over there. So sway bar links up here, same exact as the ones down bottom. Just gonna break it loose. Wow, it's so nice when they break loose that easy. Put it on, put this on tightening because you're reversed, and just power it in. And you go until it starts spinning, and that means you're pretty much done. A couple little hand turns, and you're out. Now we'll go do the other one. So next, let's see, what size are these? Is it an 18? Might be an 18. It is an 18, so I'm going to get an 18 in my impact and take out these 2 strut mount bolts down here. All right, here we go. And there's one. And get the bottom one. Well, these are awesome. So, you know, captured style. So you don't have to use a wrench on the other side. Now, you should. Yeah, there's one. Usually these never come out by hand, but because this car is so new, it's not an issue. Oh, there we go. Now, what you don't want to do is let this whole assembly here hang by your ABS cable or your brake, which this doesn't. The sway bar, I mean the control arm stops it before it falls that far. But I do have to take out this 10mm here that holds both of those to this bracket. Okay, so literally all we got left to do to drop these struts out is these 4 nuts. These 2 on each side capture the strut tower brace. These 2 just go straight to the strut. So these are 13s. We're going to pull those out, and then I'm going to label the struts left and right. I don't think it matters in this car. I don't think they're side specific, but I'm going to do it anyways. And that's about it. And then we're waiting for our springs to get here. All right, one further thing I want to mention. When you take the struts out, have them so the wheels are basically straight ahead. Note the orientation of your top plate, because if you notice, the distance from here is different from the distance from here and here and here and whatnot, and there's an arrow. So on this car, the arrow pointed straight to the other strut. So both of the struts, the arrows should point to each other, because if you put these in a different orientation, your suspension geometry is going to be pretty far off, and alignment's going to be that much more of a pain in the butt. So with that being said, we are kind of done with this thing until the springs get here, unfortunately. So for me, for you, it's just going to be right after this transition. All right, ladies and gents, good news. Grab my gloves. Our correct rate springs and strut mounts have come in. So the strut mounts and struts are on their way to get mounted or installed, and I am going to install our rear springs. So little thing I like to do, everybody doesn't, but I do, it's not required, is just some grease on your rubber spring mounts for squeaking, stuff like that. It's not required, but I just like doing it for safety's sake so that we don't get any squeaks and noises. All right, so I'm going to put our spring mounts back up in here. I'm going to grab this side. This goes on my passenger side because that's the one that fell out. I'm going to make sure my spring doesn't want to roll away. And we should, hopefully, be able to just slide this thing all up in here. There we go. I should have enough droop, I believe, to get this back in. Oh, actually, I'm not. Oh, I am all the way down. All right. And here we are. We're in. And then rinse and repeat on the other side. There we go. Right in. Perfect. All right, so now I'm going to go up on my tranny jack so I can get my bolts in for this shock and that shock, and then I'm going to tighten down my Panhard bar retaining bolts, because those I left loose in case I had to take it out if I couldn't get these springs in. Also going to turn these springs and make sure they are seated in there, which we look like we are. Mint. Oh, I got a plastic clip in there that the grease grabbed. All right. Lower shock bolts. We will get this which way do I gotta go? Just need a little bit of persuasion to get that to slide through all the way. But we are there. And this one, I need to come up a little bit. There we go. All right, well, we are there. Let me go grab my pry bar so I can get these to seat all the way in. So I'm gonna throw on our retainers. Just go right there. And then I gotta get my 15 wrench to tighten that. And the same thing on this side. And then I'll tighten these down, and then we are done in the rear. And in a snap of my fingers, we will be reassembling the front. Oh, look, I got grease on my hand. Struts are back, all put together. I'm gonna throw these things in the car. All right. So as you guys remember, we marked these left and right. So we're gonna start on the right side. And as you remember, the notch right here goes in the inside. So let's get this thing up and in. Lining it up lined. There we go. And then holding it with one hand while we get some nuts started. All right, so our uppers are bolted in. My knuckles are started. Now, you see you got this little bit of play here. Just me, I like to push the camber in at the top and tighten them up. And then if we need be, even though there's not a lot of play here, there's enough to make some difference on the alignment rack. If we need to take some camber out, we can loosen these up and take some camber out. All right, with that being done, we're going to put our sway bars back in and put the retaining bolt back in for the brake line. And then we can put the wheels on this thing and put it on the ground and see how it's gonna sit. Alrighty, we're all cleaned up under here. Here we go. I am going to say I'm probably going to have to grab the jack to get the lift arms out from underneath it, because with the stock suspension I had to use the jack to get the lift arms underneath it. Yep, we are 100% on the lift arms right now, so I'll be right back. Alright, we're on the ground, and yes, that is a nice static ride height for this car. Rears are a little higher right now. They will settle in. Fronts are probably going to settle in a little bit too, but I also just put it down right off the lift. I haven't moved it at all, so we've got to let this whole suspension settle basically. So I'm going to clean up a pathway out of here, and we're going to pull this outside.